All right. Good morning. Do we have sound? Yeah, looks like we've got sound to OBS. What is this? It's on a weird thing. Let's do that. Okay, volume should be up. All right. Get the chats where I can see them. Hide some of the rest of this stuff. How's it going, Axel Magnus? Good morning. Okay, there we go. All right, so good morning, good day, happy Saturday. I don't really need this on. For anybody that might be new, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. I typically work on stuff related to CircuitPython, which indeed is what we'll be doing today. If you don't know what CircuitPython is, you can learn more at the main website for it here, circuitpython.org. Basically, this is an implementation of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. It is a fork of the MicroPython project, so it kind of contains MicroPython, but also contains some differences from MicroPython. It runs on these 473 boards that are listed here on the downloads page. When you run CircuitPython on a microcontroller, most typically the way it works is that microcontroller can plug into your computer with a USB cable, and then it will show up like a thumb drive, just a sort of regular external storage. On that storage drive, there will be a code.py file, and you can edit that file with Python code inside of it. And then when you save it, the microcontroller, the actual computer, the brain that's inside these little chips, it will execute that Python code for you. So it will interpret it and execute it all inside of that microcontroller. And it can, of course, interface and interact with all sorts of other electronic devices. Lots of these microcontrollers come with loads of I/O pins, input-output pins that you can connect other things to. And some of the devices also come with certain built-in peripherals. Like this one has got some buttons and a knob and a screen. This one has got alligator clips and a screen on the other side, or maybe some LEDs, I think. This one's got a touch screen. So all different shapes and sizes of these devices, but they can all run CircuitPython. And that is kind of the 50,000-foot view of the project overall. Diving in a little bit more specifically, today what I'm looking at is stemming from this library idea from Lady Ada, which is basically taking these like border type overlay objects and then overlaying it with a photo that you would take from the Memento camera, which is kind of like a built-in little digital camera type device that runs on an ESP32S3 sort of all-in-one board. So this is a good example of one of those microcontroller boards that's got some other stuff built in. It's kind of purpose-built. This one has got a display on the flip side that we can't see back here, but that's its ribbon cable. It's got a camera. ESP32S3 is the main brain, which has got Wi-Fi built in. It's got an SD card slot. It's got a couple of connectors for connecting up other bits. The main thing that we're interested in is the camera and manipulating the output from the camera. I don't have the device just yet. I just ordered it, so I'll have to wait for it to come. But what I have that I will work on the proof of concept with in the meantime is not going to be visible until we get the camera on. So let's do that. Good morning, C. Grover. Oh, did that change? There we go. Now we're actually focusing. Okay. I have this thing, which is not the same camera, but it's a camera, and we'll see how far it gets us. I think I am just going to do this on ESP32 S3 TFT because it's the same main brain. You know, ESP32 S3 is what this has, so that seems good. And then we'll try to hook it up with this camera. I'll try to get it to where I can overlay some borders like this into the image that gets saved and the image that gets put on the screen. One thing that I think happened, which I have not played with yet, but I think this is as good a time as any other, is I think you can access the SD card files through web workflow now. Is that a true thing? SD card web workflow? Maybe just SD web workflow? Maybe web workflow supervisor, make SD cards, yeah. Torch.mount to require that a mount point exists. So that's one change. So that it requires you to create the folder, which I think I remember hearing as well. Yeah, so I have not messed with this at all. I don't know anything about it just yet. So let's try this because that seems really cool because I do in fact have whatever that is, Ada Logger Featherwing, which happens to have an SD card on it. It's got a battery because it also has, I think, a real-time clock, which I don't tend to use very much. But the SD card, being a Featherwing with an SD card, it's nice because then, of course, I can, plug it into this Feather doubler, or this one happens to be a quad, and get an SD card on a Feather, which is nice. In our case, the actual target device has an SD card as well, which I think is where the images get saved to, and being able to actually see the files on the SD card without having to take it out of the microcontroller, put it into an adapter, plug it into a USB port, and then open it up on my computer. If we can cut that down to just open up the web workflow and they're there, that's going to be awesome. That's going to make doing this and testing this a whole lot easier. Plus, it's an opportunity to play with this, which is a cool new feature, which I had in mind to do anyway. So let's try this. I don't know if it's even, this was just merged, right? Well, that's not true, I guess. Well, no, it was merged 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It was merged 2 weeks ago. I don't know the timeline. Is there a new release with it or not? So I don't think it would be an 829. I don't think it would be there. I think maybe it's going to be 9.0 beta, or it's going to be we need to get an even newer one. I think those are the options most likely. Notable changes. may need to be created over USB. All right, yeah. So beta 0, that should do it for us. Let's grab TFT, feather, ESP32S3. I do not have the reverse feathers. I just have regular one. 900 beta, UF2 download. Let's get this plugged in. So right now we're just doing the microcontroller. I don't have the SD card, or rather I should say I don't have the camera hooked up at this point. That says it's on 900 beta. It's on a version of the text editor code. I wonder... I think let's just rewrite it anyway, just to be safe. It could be... I don't know if it would be an official version on there, or if I could have built it, maybe, and just put it on there. But let's do install one, just to be absolutely sure. Good morning, DJ Devin. I've been up all night working on the touch driver. Oh, dang. How's it going, Johnny Bergdahl, as well? Nice to see you, my friend. Hope everybody is having a nice day today. Whoa. Totally just wonked out the camera, I'm sure. Let me see. And then I turned off the preview. Here, let me try to get this fixed a little bit. I accidentally, my camera went for a little bit of a base jumping adventure off of my desk the other day. And it's on like GorillaPod type legs, and so when it gets its legs messed up, then it no longer sits straight. All right. All right, let's get that back to just blank. Let's get that connected. BootPy has only auto reload, okay. So if I understand right, I think we need to create, I don't really want to do it in PyCharm though. I really trust PyCharm not to like do other stuff that I don't want it to. If I understand right, we need to create a directory for this to mount to. So like I'll create an empty SD directory. Yeah, it does say beta, but it also has like, I don't know what's going on with this. So let's just rerun that. Is that more files than normal? It feels like a lot of files. 5 files? Oh yeah, it does that sometimes. I think it just wasn't ready yet. Let's jump the gun a little bit. Let's go back see Fordsies and then, yeah, okay. Alright, yeah, I don't know. We still have some weirdness in boot, but I guess that's not too bad. Weird because it's not printing anything, right? There's no print statements, so I don't know. Alright, that's connected. We made SD, so let's get some basic SD card connection going on here, which I don't know off the top of my head how to do. Does not look like sample code. Result C. I don't see any Python level sample code, so let's hit up the learn Essential SD card? Python hardware SD cards? We could always go Ada Logger. There is Ada Logger, which is the device I'm using. CircuitPython. So one thing I will definitely say right up front is I do not know the difference between all of the different SD cards, like SD card IO versus Adafruit underscore SD card versus SDIO. Trying to do the feed callback in tandem with a request or fetch on the PyPortal. Fixed the blocking last week. I'm going to try it. Foamy Guy did. Yep. I think we should be good there. So definitely let me know though if you do still have any issues. So we need to. I guess we'll just do this one, right? This is the one in the main guide here. We'll start with that and. See where that gets us. I mean, this has different stuff. It has a section for Adafruit SD card. It doesn't say when you would want to use it or why. I also don't see anything. There's like SDIO or something like this? I think there was even a third one, but all right, this one's listed first, right? So surely the one that is listed first is kind of like the sort of most basic one, I would think. So yeah, board spy we can just use. Well, it's not built in. We'll have to figure this stuff out. So we need CS. We need to know the CS pin on the Ada Logger, which I guess we're on the page for Ada Loggers, so it's probably pin 10, just like it says. Oh, but it depends on your feather. Okay. SDCS. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on the small side. I'm just gonna compare because I don't know what feather this is or what the pinout is. S3. XPT touch driver for CircuitPython. One exists, but not a lot of features yet. Oh, nice. And some more stuff to there. How's it going, Tithe? Logging data. We are trying to take photos, ultimately, and store them on the SD card. And then, like, even more specifically, we're trying to manipulate the photo by pasting in a frame on top of it like this. We want to get the frame into the one that saves on the SD card, and then if we can, we also want to get it onto the one that shows on the display as a preview, although our display is fairly small, so I don't know how much of it we'll be able to see, but I suspect we may not make it all the way there today, but we will see. Ultimately, this is going to land on a Memento device, but I don't have it yet, so I'm just using the Feather S3 with an SD card Featherwing as kind of a facsimile. I have a different camera as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is D10. Okay, I should just trust it next time and use it. Okay, board with, yeah, we don't have that. We'll just leave that S10. We don't need the comment, spy bus. Yep, okay, let's grab the next chunk of code, which was from here? No, here? Maybe. Yeah. SD card, spy, mount, storage.mount, SD. So yeah, here's where I think you didn't used to have to do this, but now I think you do. I think pin 6 might be D10 on most boards. Nice, okay. Wanted to sticker my face in photos in a similar vein. Ah, nice, yeah. Yeah, this will give us the ability to do some of that kind of I mean, like frames and borders are the main thing I had in mind, but honestly, once the core functionality works, like it'll give us that ability to sticker on top of images as well, because it does, you know, whatever we paste on top doesn't matter too much. So actually, that's a good thought. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's like another neat thing that could get added to this that kind of utilizes the same core technology, the same core like code concepts to be able to get it done. I think bitmaptools.blit actually is going to make this relatively easy. We'll see once, you know, sometimes I get bite off more than I can chew when I say stuff like that, but we'll see. I think it should be all right, actually. I think it shouldn't be too hard with that blit function. So that should mount for us. And then do we want to do anything else? Like, I mean, does it stay mounted? Like, do I need to, let's just give it a while true, I guess. I don't know if you need this or not. Just going to give it that. I kind of like, you know, if you're going to give it a full-on while true, like, instead of just revving the CPU literally as hard as we can, maybe, you know, just rev it a little bit less hard, maybe? I don't know. All right, yeah, let's see where that gets us. So we're not going to, I should have, like, maybe done an OS lister or something like that. Oh, I have auto reload off, so there's actually still time. Let's do a print os.listdir. I don't know if that's the right command. ls.lister? No, os. sd. I don't know if that's the right, I guess this should tell us. Nice, okay. Yeah, let's try that. So save that, and then we need to rerun it. I have so many terminals. I need to probably get on top of that. Okay, nice. Yeah, we have some files there. Uploaded files, Blinka, something, system volume, sweet. So that is mounted, and we can view it. Let's... Oh, I didn't say it as well either, Tyth, but the other thing that I'm looking into that kind of goes along with this was... this PR from the core, which was merged a couple weeks back, make SD cards available over web workflow. So this is actually where I'm starting, is trying this out. I hadn't tried it before, and it will make the rest of this process much easier if we can access these files on the SD card through web workflow without having to do the old unplug, replug the SD card dance. I finished getting my SD card working with display and touch driver, so I did a lot of breadboarding last night with pin numbers specifically for CS pins. SD card CS is typically D5 rather, TFT Featherwing. Touch is on D6, and TFT CS is usually D10. Nice. For the S2, S3 feathers anyway. Sweet. I need to check my settings toggle. I don't want to do on the screen. All right, that should be good. So we'll need to maybe, I mean, do I need it to be writable? I don't think so. Writable? I don't think so. I guess we'll see. So does this work? So you can like, sometimes I don't know if this works for me. I feel like it has worked once or twice, but I also feel like it has failed sometimes for me too, so. I'll try, it has an IP visible 116, so I'll try that. Let's do, let's stop this one. I do think it's on port 80, so we'll go there. So that was weird. We got, I feel like I saw something, this, it's HTTPS, which is never going to work, so I don't know why it's doing that. Why is it doing that? Okay, so if it doesn't answer us, then the browser probably redirects automatically. Doesn't seem like it's answering us. We're using the correct TOML setting. I thought so. Maybe not, though. Does it need more than just the name and the... Does it need more than CircuitPy Wi-Fi SSID and CircuitPy Wi-Fi password? If it needs more than that, then I think actually the answer is no, I'm not doing it correctly. I was thinking that was all you needed, but... I should be using code. Maybe I should try that. Isn't that a thing? Oh, no, it's trying to take me back to there. That page didn't load. Oh, do I need that? I might need that. Web API? Okay, I don't have these, I think. Okay, does it, I don't know when that runs. I'm just gonna reset button. You changed it in 9.x, something other than use state 3, slightly different naming. Alright, 116 again. Let's try now. Oh, is this different? No, I think it's the same. It just... should we try them all again, I guess? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so that does work this time. And it, okay, so it redirected me to there. We can go full code editor. Unable to connect. That's how we got to here. Alright, I'm gonna try the IP. Doesn't want to work. I'm gonna unplug, replug. Maybe should have gotten web workflow connected before I did the SD card setup. I don't know if that would impact it. The device can't be not found, because, like, literally this page is served by the device. There is a file browser. Can I just go there? I don't really need to use the editor. I mostly just want to see the SD card. Oh. Yes. Perfect. Okay. The editor is not for like a split second. I saw this page and I was like, oh my god, I just put my password on the screen, but it's not mine. Okay. Yeah, that's all we need. I don't need the web workflow editor, I don't think, because I can just edit code from here, and then, yeah, we have the whole setup after that. That's fine. So that's actually really nice. I don't know why the other thing is not working, but it doesn't really matter for this one. Okay, now, next step, take a photo. Save it to the SD card, which we will then be able to access through the web workflow, as we have just seen. For take a photo, I don't have the exact right camera that's in the Memento, but what I do have is this TTL serial camera right here. So we're gonna do this and see if we can get the blit working after the fact, because it shouldn't matter what camera it is, right? Like, I'll have to swap the code for taking the photo, but once we have taken the photo, then it's just an image. We should be able to like manipulate it after the fact, really, without caring where it came from. I can get rid of this. We're gonna need to install that library. Is now the time to kind of tackle some of this stuff here? Wish I could move these around. Stubs testing environment. Doesn't have circup in it, I don't think. It does have circup in it. That's convenient. Okay. Okay, so this says what? SD. We already got the SD card set up. That's all fine. Image file name. Yeah, eventually we'll want to like make this a little bit different because we don't want to just overwrite the same photo every time, but I almost think we should maybe even make a new directory inside of there. Is this writable? Probably not without going to the editor, right? There's rename and there's edit. Oh, create a directory. I don't know if this is going to be writable. Photos. Nice. Yeah, for now, let's just go photos, image, and then we'll come up with a more clever way to name them eventually so that it doesn't overwrite the same one. But let's just get it taking a picture. I sometimes try to bite off a little bit more than I can chew in one chunk of coding, so let's aim low. Let's just get our picture taken. So UART, so this is connecting on TXRX over UART. Print the version, set the baud rate, set the image size. Let's work on a small one to start with. What size is the display? I think it's 240 by 135. So let's do this one since it can fit on the display. I don't think we need this whole print stuff really. Probably don't need this, the sleep and the snap and all that, but that's fine. don't know what resume video means. Okay, we want the small size. So taking the picture in 3 seconds, wait 3 seconds, snap, take picture. Frame length is frame length. Copy buffer, read picture into copy buffer. So this has a function that's reading it into this byte array buffer for us, and then out file writes it from the copy buffer 32 bytes at a time. Print a dot every 2K to show progress. Why is 2K equal to 64? It's greater than 64 though. But it resets. Does it take 64 writes of 32 bytes to get to 2K? Maybe that's it. Okay, so then it does this. I don't know if we want or need this part, but I guess let's do it. So that should take the photo and save it into photos image if it all works. But right now it's also not plugged in, so it definitely won't work just yet. We need to wire it, which is power to USB power, 5 volts, ground to ground. Cameras RX goes to boards TX, and vice versa. I have this little breadboard, which we will. It's got the camera on one end. The other end of that same wire is right here. This will give me a little bit more length here to not necessarily have the camera be quite so tight on the feathers. So there's power, green for a data. There's white for another data, or we could do blue for another data. We need a ground. Ground, awfully long. So we have green and blue for data. It actually has green and white for data on those cables, so I'm just going to swap blue for white, even though the white cable is a little shorter. That way we can actually just fully match the coloring scheme. Okay, and this device, ooh, okay. That was an interesting choice. I think I'm the one who made that choice. Basically, red is not power, which I would have assumed. Power is actually on white, ground is on black, and then RX is red, red for R, I guess, and TX is green. So white is power. 5 volts. We want to go ground to ground. Fourth here. 1, 2, 3, fourth. Nope, that's the wrong side though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, okay. Y for power, that goes over to USB, which is 1, 2, third pin down on the short side. And then red is RX on the camera, which means it needs to go to TX on the feather. Second from the end down here. I almost put it in the wrong side again. Green is TX on the camera. Means we want it to go to RX on the feather. Alright, I'm gonna double check the big pinout photo here. 2, 3 is USB power, 5 volt. Debug is the last one, TX is the next one, and RX is the next one. So yeah, feathers TX goes into cameras RX and vice versa. And ground is 4th on the long side. Alright, that should be all hooked up. Building a SPI driver from scratch can be a challenge but satisfying. Brian Sieper was my mentor when I first jumped into the driver development pool. Nice, yeah. That's still something I have not wrapped my head fully around, is how to write those kind of like SPI or I2C driver level code, really. I wish I could have I want to find a device that behaves as a peripheral so that I can like just read and write arbitrary registers and wrap my head around what is like actually happening. Alright, that should be wired up right, I think. Okay. I don't remember how this cap attaches. Alright, there it is. Okay. Let's open. So when we run it, it should take one photo, basically. So let's save that. Still got the print. It should eventually say version of this thing. There we go. It takes it a while to initialize, but it did eventually get there. 1.0 init end. It's taking a photo in 3 seconds. Snap. It's writing. Finished after 1.1 seconds. SD photos, refresh. Oh. Nice. Okay, so it took it a second to render. I thought there was nothing there, but it did eventually show up. Look at Walkly. You can do what you need with custom chips. Learn to be a peripheral. And relatively easy debug. I have to check into it. I've played with it a few times, but I don't... Beyond using it to mock up a board, I don't know how to do anything deeper with it. I'll have to look in to see if there's like any kind of getting started with that deeper level rather than just using it as kind of the emulator. The chip, you said the custom chips. What you want with custom chips? Custom chips inside Walkly. I don't know why my computer... Ah, nice. Okay, so it's messed up, but it kind of worked. Like, that's part of a real thing in the world, so it took a photo pointing up at the desk cam. I don't know why it's half gray. That part seems messed up. It says 3.6K. Let's give it a refresh here. It's still 3.6K. Okay, let's just give it another one. This 3.6 here as well. Just let it go again. Pretty quickly we should set this up to be on a button, so that I'm not just waiting on the initialization and then the 3 seconds and then the take picture and then the writing each time. Conveniently, I have a row of buttons here. I presume the Memento has a button. I haven't looked that closely at the hardware. I got a row of these. I'm just going to snap one off and use it. He says confidently. Oh, struggling to do so. Well, I have no doubt that I could do it, but I'm also trying to avoid snapping off more than one, snapping off the connector, doing any other kind of damage. All right, let's see how we did on that one. I guess it will be the same size every time, probably. It's still messed up, and we actually got less of it that time. Let's try a medium one and see if the size makes any difference. The other thing I'm inclined to do is take the baud rate down some. I mean, the fact that we're getting anything, I feel like, tells us that our wiring is solid, right? If we didn't have good wiring to the camera, I don't think we'd be able to get the version or even, like, get any part of a usable image. Famous last words, yeah. Registers are determined by the controller chip, and the control bytes are in the chip data set. All the peripherals, kind of the data sheet often on the monitor, one on PyCharm. Yeah. We're not getting the, like, print thing, right? Thought there was print a dot every so often. Must be a multiple of 4 and under 30 and under 100. Stick with 32. I don't know, this one feels like it got stuck. Don't know about that one. Oh, actually, it looks like maybe the whole device got stuck. Yeah, because like Control C is not doing anything, and web workflow is unresponsive. Actually, we got totally locked up there. It must not have been the bigger size, though, because that's the same file size. No SD card. Just been working all night. It seems like breadboard day. Nice. You're in Featherwing. Awesome. That's super cool. Get the touch driver going. Yeah. That's awesome. I don't know why we're getting no SD card now. I think it's like, I wonder if we corrupted it. I mean, it was in the middle of a write. And yeah, right? It was in the middle of a write at the time that everything died, so... Alright, tell you what, we're gonna unplug it. I'm gonna take the SD card out. I'm gonna put the SD card back in. I'm gonna plug it back in. If we get the same thing. I guess as we probably corrupted it though. Oh, it's back actually. We missed it in the TO. The TO was not connected while it printed that stuff out, but it got it on the screen. So we can see that it does actually have the files in the folder and stuff. It is taking a thing this time. It got an IO error though. That doesn't make any sense. Right? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. This is just setting a variable W count to 0. I don't think that can raise an OS error. SD still doesn't show in here. It's back to no SD card actually. So far, every time we tried to write the medium size, we got stuck into this broken SD card, it seems like. I'll try one more time, but I don't really have high hopes for this one working. I'm curious if we check on the files before it runs. It's kind of hard to do that. Yeah, let's try take photo on the name of that. Just put nothing in here. I'm gonna leave it plugged in and then just unplug the SD card As soon as I unplugged the SD card, the device rebooted. Display works great, but didn't test SD card or touch. Confirms SD worked. Lost speech is touch. Can't get it to print the XY coordinates. And that if you have SD in CircuitPy, 8x will cause SD card I/O to fail. Say the directory exists in 9x. You're making it a requirement. Yeah, I think I did hear about that part, and we got that created. Alright, so it's plugged back in. I don't know if it's gonna... Let's check the repo. See if there's any, like, issues. Failed the same way. Where it's like it started writing it, but then it's just dead all of a sudden. Oh, no issues. Alright, well, let's get off to this medium size. That seems to be breaking it. I guess we could try the big one. I don't really have any higher hopes for that one, and we can't show it on the display anyway, so not sure that that's going to be particularly fruitful, but I'm just going to unplug, replug. I never did check the files again before I started trying to do this. Oh well. No. Still locked up. It doesn't, it seems like it should be bigger, right? Oh, this time it did not actually just lock up, but it did. Reason IO error when I was trying to write the file. I wonder if the SD card and the screen are bothering each other. Let's put this back to the small one. I assume that the SD card will be stuck until we reboot. Get no such device. Still have that actually. Yeah, again, as soon as I unplugged the SD card, the microcontroller resets. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's the thing that happens. Internally or externally, has there been talk of auto creating that SD? I'm not sure. Whenever you do a search in your URL address bar, you always add exclamation part G. What does that do? It takes it to Google. So I use DuckDuckGo by default. And then DuckDuckGo has a bunch of exclamation point, and then something to take you to specific places. So like if you know that Wikipedia is what you're interested in, you can do exclamation point W and it searches Wikipedia with whatever thing you put. So exclamation point G is Google, which is often what I want to search, but sometimes I leave it without and let it search DuckDuckGo, or sometimes I occasionally search other search engines. Yeah, DuckDuckGo. Ooh, we're like mega stuck now, maybe. Alright, so unplug the SD card, plug back in the SD card, plug back in the microcontroller. Alright, I think we have wrecked the SD card for good. That's 16. Is our Arduino library? I assume CircuitPython is the same. Basically, I'm going to try to reformat the SD card, but I definitely have nothing else plugged in. This is a 32 gigabyte SD card, so this is definitely the right one. Let's only say FAT. Actually, it doesn't have a FAT16 or whatever. I don't really care what the name is. Doesn't really need a name. All data will be lost. But the page before it just had like an erase thing as a separate option. It's kind of weird. Been some discussion during the meeting about it. Only time I've heard it mentioned, no idea the status or how it might affect virtual system. Make photos, and then we'll just start with that. Okay, so let's eject. Put this back in, plug this back in. I wonder what it would be. I feel like the display might be the culprit because of the way that we are using the SPI bus for the display and the SD card. And they should have their own CS pins or whatever, but it seems like we always crash while we're writing files, and even when it wasn't crashing or freezing, we weren't getting fully written, accurate image files anyway. We had the bottom half with all that gray stuff. So I'm kind of thinking that the SD card, like the camera might be working fine, but the SD card writing to it is getting messed up, and I'm wondering if it is because it's trying to share the SPI bus. Images. We set this back to small. Yeah. I'm also curious what this prints, I guess. Like, maybe the baud rate for the camera, but I don't know. I kind of think it's the SD card, especially with the way the SD card just got corrupted and it was disappearing. Like, I was able to get it back by unplug, replug a few times, but, you know, I don't know. Seems broken, right? Has no baud rate. I spell it wrong? I wish this had history for cross reboots. Like, I wish TIO or my computer or something could save history so that I could just up again to get my import thing. Sorry, I don't know how loud that was. 38400 is the default. Why is that so huge? It still failed also though, right? So the file size, so maybe I was wrong actually. Maybe the camera was messed up because the file size was so much smaller, but it had all that gray. Maybe this time we got a photo without all that gray. Therefore, the file size is bigger because it has more different pixels. but put your import in REPL. I don't want it to run every time. One thing I could do though is maybe change it to a function, I guess. But I still want the core concept of just being able to up arrow through the rest of my history too. While I grant the REPL will take out some steps and potentially remove a chunk of the typing if I rearrange it as a function. Even still on top of that, if you could up arrow with a history, you could still go even faster. Yeah, this failed like partway through. It's just never gonna come back. And then, and now it's frozen, but is it gonna corrupt the SD card again? 3K was too small. More like when the transfer was corrupted, possibly other CS called. Yeah, I really think the display might not be playing nicely. Although the fact that that's so much bigger makes me think the photo we took this time was different somehow. Like maybe it didn't have all that gray in it. But I'm not sure we're actually going to be able to see it. In fact, I don't think we are going to be able to see it. It doesn't show anything. Well, it doesn't show anything at SD anymore because the SD card's not mounted right now. So because we changed it to where the SD card only mounts in take photo, it means it's not visible here anymore. Alright, well, I don't know. It's not looking good for proof of concept with this device, truthfully. Take photo is gone. Where's take photo? Am I in the wrong folder? In the wrong folder. What? What? No, why is none of these having... But that didn't print anything. It's still not, it didn't print anything. I already have a mount SD. I didn't save this on the device. And I already have a mount SD, which has a mount function that you have to call, apparently. So that I guess I could put in REPL. Might be kind of nice to make it call mount, but I do still want the up arrow, right? The up arrow, I think, they're not mutually exclusive, and I think the history is still beneficial, even above and beyond this. One of these days, I will try to figure out how to make Tio do it, or make something on my computer do it. Because I don't think the board itself should save that history, but the computer should. So now I should be able to just call mount. Okay, but it fails because the thing is broken. So I'd have to reformat it again in order to try again. And I don't think we're going to try again with the exact same setup. I don't know if I have a Feather S3. With no TFT. Oh, I do right here. Okay. Okay, we're gonna try this. This is Feather Feather, just regular S3 Feather, no TFT on it. Camera's dead. I don't think I think the SD card's fine. I think the code, I think something is corrupting it. I mean, the SD card, I don't think is a problem. SD card has worked loads of times before. I think the code is corrupting the SD card, and then once that happens, it no longer works because of the SD card is corrupted, but the code, I think, did that. Either the data that it got from the camera wonked it out, and that caused it to go bad when it tried to write that data, or the data it got from the camera was fine, but when it tried to write it, something went wrong, and it broke the SD card. Which could be just as simple as like the system locking up while it was in the middle of writing or something, right? Like it may be just like it started saving and then the core crashed without doing any cleanup or something. It's kind of like where my gut instinct is. Okay, actually maybe one last try with this device, which is let's build. Actually, let's not build, but let's just grab an even newer. So I'm on beta 0. Let's just try the most new one we can get. See if it does the exact same thing or not. And then we'll switch to a device without a display. Because my next kind of thought is like maybe the display is messing it up. Since they're both on the SPI bus. Okay. Close that. It's back up. Still on 116. SD card's not mounted, so we wouldn't be able to see anything there. Actually, the SD card's not plugged in. Plug in the SD card. Let me also mount it from the REPL. And then see if we can see the files back in web workflow. It's really weird to me that the device resets when you unplug the SD card, but not when you plug in the SD card. Oh, actually, I think it's frozen. Wait, no, that's PyCharm being frozen. Okay. Oops, this fat. Oh. It's still not printing the right stuff. Oh wait, this is a different file. Okay, in that case, I have no idea why it printed that, because there's no print statements, but it would be nice to... Oh, it returned so that you can unmount it, but I didn't catch it, so I can't, actually. I could have gone like this, and then later on I could have said SD dot either umount or unmount or something, but I didn't. Still shows no files here, but I didn't create photos, so yeah, it's not going to be there. That works. I actually don't want to do photos, just SD. Nice, okay, that did work. Okay, so that's mounted. It's back to working. We can create from here. We want to run take photo again, yeah, even though I think it's going to do the same thing. I mean, do I change the baud rate again? Again, we saw the baud rate was slower. I mean, I guess we put it back to how the sample code was. The other one I'm a little weary on is this thing at the end, but I mean, it is at the end, and like the last several times we didn't even make it to the end, so can't be doing too much harm, I wouldn't think. All right, let's give it a try. You know, another thing we could maybe do is like release displays. Feels kind of bad, but are you initializing the SD card before the TFT? I'm not initializing the TFT. The TFT is built into the board, so it's getting initialized by the core. I assume that's happening before my code file then is initializing the SD. But I don't know for sure. According to what I've read on Git issues, the SD card is the best practice. It's not an SD card reader. It is an SD card reader. It's a Featherwing. Adalog or Featherwing. Likely had card detect, which will trigger when you remove it. Why does it reboot though? Why does it reset the microcontroller? Like, the fact that this thing detects it makes total sense to me. It's super cool. But the fact that it causes the microcontroller over here to reset, I don't understand. When you unplug. Like, if I just unplug this SD card right now, this microcontroller will reset. Seems awkward. But and it doesn't happen when you plug it in. So it's like, only when you unplug, not when you plug. But also, like, why is it resetting the whole microcontroller anyway? All right, that's there. So take photo. I put it back to the fast baud. Doesn't seem like the slow baud made any difference anyway. I don't really know where the baud rate comes in either, right? Like So I mean, when we open the file, we read into the copy buffer with this. Is this, you know, limited by the baud rate? Like, is this affected by the baud rate? Or is the baud rate only for like the commands and stuff? Like when we call take photo, I presume we're sending a command to tell it to go, and that command is traveling at the baud rate. Or is it all of the above? It's probably all of the above, right? Read picture into. Let's take a short, small peek under the hood. I'm probably not going to understand what's there, but read picture into. Read picture into. Run command read buff and read response. I mean, read response, presume that's got to be limited by the baud rate, right? I think that's got to be, it says read into. Baud rate just calls this run command set port. Interesting. I guess it must set port, must set the baud rate also, I guess. Okay, let's see if the newest version made any difference. So we can, I don't think it matters. I'm just going to reset again though. Take photo. All right, well, that's going on and run to the restroom too. BRB. Jeez, this is like here. There we go. Just in 1 second. It is back to the small size again, and it did only get down to that 3.6. So it's gonna be the messed up one, right? Yeah. So the only photos we can get are the smallest one, and half of the photo is gray. Let me see if I can just get a second one. Should have saved it under a different name, oh well. And then after this, I'll try Actually, one more thing I'm going to try. See that time? Oh, wait, that's the baud. Okay. It's like that time it's way bigger. Hey, 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 hey. That's the wrong baud rate, though. Why is it 201? Huh. I don't know about that. But it did fail while it was writing. Okay. Next plan. Unplug microcontroller. Replug microcontroller. Check if the SD card's corrupted. SD equals mount SD. Oh, I did not end up. I thought I added that to REPL, but I didn't. Okay, so import mount SD. It's actually just mount also, but maybe that was my problem. Okay, so that time it wrote 2.6K and then it crashed. Which looks basically the same as the previous one. There's slightly different fuzzy stuff. I guess those blocks must be 32K or whatever it's writing per time. Okay, so the SD card itself is not corrupted. We were able to get it back connected again. See, because when it would print this, it would have to update the display, which is going to be consuming the SPI bus. Okay, so the next thing I want to try is import display IO from display IO, import release displays. What if we just release... What if we just do this? No more displays. Display's not connected anymore. It should stay on, I think, probably. Like, it's just going to keep showing this stuff, but it will, it won't update anymore, and it's not going to send any more stuff on the SPI bus to it. So then after that, let's just give it a reset, and then let's go import take photo. And yeah, again, this will stay on, but it's not actually active. It's not actually updating, printing, doing stuff, sending data on the SPI bus anymore. Shouldn't be. So let's see if we get any better luck with it like that. I've been up all night, morning. I am done for the day. Yeah, take it easy. Get some rest, my friend. Hope you can rest well. I will see you later. All right, that time it finished much faster. It is small again, so you know, it's gonna probably have all the gray stuff in it, but let's see where we end up. Okay, so we do have an active site on the SD, 3.6. It's an entire photo. It's the whole thing. Okay, let's take one with something else in the picture. So yeah, I think the display is messing up. Which, I wonder on the Memento, does it have a separate display? Does it have two SPI buses? One for the display and one for the SD card? Also, is the camera? How does the camera work? Camera, I do think, is a dedicated peripheral, not just a TXRX jobby like this one. All right, let's let me put. I don't know if this is probably going to be all messed up, but let's see. I don't really have. Maybe we can put this also. No idea how this is really going to work or not, but So I have no idea what happened that one time when we had like 42K. Maybe it was still on the bigger one, I guess. Nice. So I held a Lego heart and my chapstick. Which is this thing. Oh, you have to get really close to that thing for it to actually be right up on it, huh? So it's just that's a Lego heart my wife made, and then chapstick with a ring on it. Oh, okay, but the ring is green, so it got green screened. So it looks like a black hole, but it's actually a little rubbery green ring. And those are what's in the photo. And it worked, which is awesome. So definitely the display is messing up the SD card, I think. Or the camera. I mean, it could be the display messing up the camera, but like, it feels like it's the SD card. We could rule it out by setting the drive to be writable and then saving it on CircuitPy instead of the SD card so that we're not involving the SPI bus. That would help us narrow it down between the SD card and the camera. Memento uses SCK and MISO, so maybe some TFT SD conflict if that's what's connected to the ADA logger. Rat. Isn't that success? Yes. Okay, larger please, more bytes. We can do that. We can try. If you whack up the SPI rate, then you may suffer less. You can use more than one SPI maybe as well. Schematic on this. Where's the display? It's just not listed on there. So, oh, display is over here. Has a GPIO expander. Control data. I don't know. The truth is, I'm not very good at. It does have a TFT-CS SCK block. But then, is the SD card on here somewhere? Not quite sure. Hopefully. I'll go with fingers crossed. Hopefully it will be not an issue on that one. I mean, I think if it were an issue at this point, it probably would have been noticed already on the actual device. So my hope is that it's just a thing that doesn't necessarily affect that one. Almost close the chat. Lower left SD. Does use S, so it has a separate, does have a separate CS, but it does still use mostly MISO SDK, which is the same as the TFT, based on the SDK here in the MOSI, but it does have separate CS lines. Okay. Hopefully. I mean, another thing we could maybe do is don't update the display. Like if we turn auto refresh off or something, but then you can't see the preview as well. Yeah, I mean, maybe we could work around it by not showing the display. By not like updating the display at the time that we are trying to write files to the SD card. I mean, honestly, I guess my suspicion is that something in the core probably ought to like recognize that it can't do that successfully and like not try. So maybe if we can create an actual self-contained, if I can create a like actual self-contained reproducer of the problem, that we should be able to get rid of the camera from the equation get it down to just the SD card and the display, and get some code that writes a bunch of chunks of data to the SD card and updates the display inside the same loop. Hopefully that's going to fail in the exact same way as this is failing. And then if it does, that like can serve as a reproducer to make an issue to hopefully try to get it fixed inside the core. Because I think in the core it should try to be like not just corrupting your drive and freezing up the system, ideally. Like if there's a limitation that makes it so both can't happen at once, then there should be a bit of code that's like, whenever it tries to start one, if the other is happening, then don't do the one or whatever. But it's also way over my head. I'm probably way oversimplifying the actual like concepts at play. Page 2 showing the camera isn't included in the guide. I filed an errata for that. Page 2 showing the camera isn't included in the guide. Showing the camera? Oh, showing the camera on the preview screen, you mean? Or not sure what you mean. Page 2 showing the camera. This one can take big photos. Jeez. Looks like it's got a preview. Also, the fact that it has put this other stuff around the edges bodes well for us, because that's basically the same way that we're going to show our thing, our border. Schematic page 2. Oh, I gotcha. There's 2 pages on the schematic. Oh, yeah. Sheet 1 of 2. Yeah, good eye. I didn't notice that. Okay. Okay. Got about 15 minutes left. We're finally ready to start. All right, let's try a bigger one. And then let me try real quick to blit a frame onto it, and then that's probably going to be it for the day for now. Unfortunately, it like took a while to get to the point where we're actually doing what I wanted, but I at least now know kind of hopefully what the deal is. Let's step it up to this one. Let's restart. Let's import take photo. This is going to do the 320 by 240, so it should be a bit bigger. After this, I'll try this one, and then we will try blitting it, which I started to just search for the word blit, which is obviously not what we want. Let's try, let's shoot for the big one, honestly. Why not, right? 640 by 480. Okay, so I'm not very artistic, honestly, so my frame is not going to look very, I don't know. It's not. Also, we just need to test right now, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. Even if I spent a whole lot of time, it wouldn't look that good because I'm not that artistic. Control-Shift-I? Control-I. Shrink by, let's say, 2. Okay, let's shrink some more. Shrink by another, like, 6 on top of that. And then let's do, like this. All right, we're going to start nice and easy. Just like that. Save this. We want to go image mode indexed. Yes. We need actually green screen. I shouldn't have done indexed yet. Let me go back to RGB. I need a green screen color. I'm just going to use full green. We want to... What? What do you unselect? Control-Shift-A. That's what I pressed. Is that not what I pressed? There we go. Green in the middle. Now we go back to indexed. Now we save. I'm just going to save it on CircuitPy for now. Frame dot BMP. Yep. Okay. That's there. Let's check this. I don't think it's bigger, is it? It's the same file size. Did not actually get any bigger. I don't know if maybe it doesn't update. Maybe I didn't save it before I ran it again. I'm not sure. Here's what we're gonna do is just restart a few times and then run it again. Then eventually what we're going to do is inside of here, we're actually going to I don't know if we're going to have time to do all of this, actually. I don't think I'm going to be able to blit it. Because really what I need to do is, with this one, I don't have an easy way to get the bitmap of the image. I'm going to have to actually save it first, and then reopen it, and then decode it. And then that is going to give me a bitmap, which I could then use the blit function how I want to paste this border into it. 13K, that one's definitely bigger. It says it's done. Nice. How big is that? Alright, that's the medium one still though, which is odd, because I changed it to the bigger one again even. So like, it's almost like, well, but that says here. Odd. It's almost like it's behind by one or whatever. I'm just going to reset and do it again, and I think we're going to get the big one. That's weird, because it shows it's like that. But I wonder if it needs like a time.sleep after it sets that or something? I don't know. Glad you took this approach. Good example for how to build your own camera using breakout boards while taking advantage of the work done on the Memento. Yeah. Yeah, and in this case, it was like, just allowed me to get going. This is super weird how it has this little extra one in there. This allowed me to at least like try to start something before I actually got the Memento. So that should be coming to me next week though, so I'll be moving to it pretty quick. Yeah, I'll have to try to make that reproducer because we have not failed once since I did a release displays. So it definitely seems like the displays don't play nicely with the SD card and the camera in my case. But honestly, my gut instinct is that it's probably not the camera. It's truthfully probably just the displays and the SD card is my guess, but it is still a guess. All right, yeah, we did get the big one. I don't know why it doesn't... I don't know why it doesn't change the first time, but whatever. No, JPEG. JPEG.io. JPEG.io. Okay. So we want to, in this case, after we have saved a JPEG, we want to then open that JPEG, use this JPEG.io decoder, which is going to effectively convert that to a bitmap object for us, which is convenient because a bitmap object we can then manipulate and do stuff with So that is going to be our image. So now I'm going to load up a frame bitmap, and a frame palette is equal to Adafruit image load.load. Frame.bmp. Okay, and now I'm going to say bitmap tools.blit. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I don't know. My import, my stubs are not working right. I might have left it in a weird state. This virtual environment was made for testing some stuff on stubs. All right, destination, then source. So our destination is going to be bitmap. I'm going to change the name of that. Photo bitmap. Oh my goodness. Okay. Photo bitmap. So photo bitmap, that's our destination. Our source is frame bitmap. Our X and Y is 0. I'm just going to hard code the sizes. We want the whole size of everything, which is X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So that's going to be another, I don't know, are you supposed to put names with these maybe? Let's put names on these. No, that would be the full width. .640 by 480. I don't know if it should be 639. Okay, skip source index. So we want, so while we're pasting, we want to skip any pixels that are green, which is on index number 2. Ideally, I should have put that on index number 0, but we're going to roll with 2. So that's going to try to copy from the frame into the photo, skipping any green from the frame. And now we want to be able to save that back to a new file. For which we are going to use Bitmap Saver. Which has saved pixels. We give it a bitmap, we give it a palette, we give it a file. /sd/photos/ I just say edited image.bmp. That is from the photo bitmap, which is where we pasted our frame on top of the photo. And the palette is the photo bitmap palette. No, it's not. It's the, so actually we have a problem with the palette. They don't have the same palettes, and therefore this is not going to work. Also, it's unclear to me where the palette would be. Doesn't have a value count. I don't know. That's probably the wrong thing to do. I don't even know what it will do. All right. Pretty much can't do this if I don't have access to that. Yeah, I mean, it's not listed. The S2 TFT is in the reverse S2, but not the S3s. And then the S3 feather with no TFT is there. I don't know if that's the Adafruit one or not. But the S3 TFT nor the reverse, none of those are there. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. We would have to be able to have that in order to decode the JPEG that came out of the camera in order to be able to get it as a bitmap, in order to be able to blit the frame onto it. Photo bitmap palette. So I don't actually have a photo bitmap palette. Based on the namings, you would think that would be the name of it, but I don't actually have that. It's unclear to me what it uses as the palette. It might be an RGB bitmap, I guess, and therefore its palette is like the full range of colors or whatever. Which are not a type of thing I use very often, so I'm not super familiar. But I mean, you would like, so decodes it from the JPEG, puts it into the bitmap. I would almost expect there to be like maybe you need to also have a palette, or you know, maybe it's like palette equals the result of that or something. But somehow it seems to be doing it without a palette, and even without declaring a number of colors on the bitmap, which I didn't think you could do, but I don't know for sure. My best guess, though, is that it's a full RGB, like 888 palette or whatever, so it's just kind of trying to use every color it can, which my other one is not that, so I don't know how those would reconcile together or not, but either way, we can't actually do it without the JPEG decoder, because this camera is producing a JPEG directly. And in order for us to be able to blit, we need a bitmap object, not a JPEG file. Decoder should let us get that, but not on this device, it turns out. It's not enabled. But it's not. Adafruit boards have Adafruit prefix. Okay. All right. That's all of them, though? Or, because I mean, like Metro, is that? I mean, Metro, I feel like, is an Adafruit name, I thought, but maybe not. I was thinking I saw Matrix Portal, but I probably saw Adafruit Matrix Portal. Okay. Okay, it must have been Adafruit Matrix Portal. It's looking like, yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah, that's what I saw before. So it has Matrix Portal S3. I mean, it's good news is that there's a bunch of S3s supported by this. So it's not like it just can't work on the S3. It seems like it's maybe just not turned on for this one for some reason. But this hardware is very similar, so hopefully it should just be the same. Unexpected Maker is the one that has no Adafruit. Okay, so Feather S3 is just UM board. Okay, that's good to know. All right, I am going to head out for now with that. I'll probably try to either use the non-TFT board since it turns out the display's messing up anyway, or maybe I'll make my own build if I need to that tries to enable JPEG I/O. But this is kind of the next step is once we save the image, get it loaded as a bitmap, and then try to blit from our frame into our bitmap of our photo, and then be able to output that back out as well. And if we do that, I think that resulting file, as long as we get the palettes right and everything else, it should basically be, you know, the inside should basically be the photo from the camera, so like this, but then the outside should basically be this pink and blue frame around the edge. And if that works, that's basically what we're going for. So if it doesn't work, then we will probably keep messing with it until we can get it to work. Thank you, though, for everybody who was hanging out in the chat today. Had lots of folks stop by and say hi. Always appreciate everyone who comes by. Thanks to everyone who is watching but not in the chat. Y'all are appreciated as well. I hope everyone has a good rest of your day and a good weekend and all of that stuff. I will probably be back at some point on Monday. I'll pop the stream on sometime while I work on this, but I don't know if it'll be before or after the meeting. So you can follow me on Twitch if you'd like to get notifications for that. But that is probably the plan on the next time that I'll pop up on stream is sometime Monday. And then I should be back for the regular stream on Saturday next week at 10 a.m. Central Time, just like I started today. I will see you then. Thanks for hanging out and good day.